Hello, everybody, and welcome to the This Week in the Tech Boy podcast. We have so much information to get to today. This week, the Tech Boy created a new software program that allows you to be able to download the transcripts of any YouTube video, as well as redesign the Tech Boy website. Hopefully, you guys like it. We're still working on it. It's work in progress. And let's also there's some more information about teen Instagram, teen TikTok, and that full long investigation that we've been going on to here. We've sent out messages to all the TikTok dancing people over on Instatox_123. Have not received any responses back. So no podcast appearance for them yet, but hopefully we will be getting one of them on stream soon. Hopefully, maybe we can find some random person TikToking in real life. Like I said, I haven't seen one in real life, so if there is one in real life, we will go out there and go uh, interviewed them. And as part of our Teens as Teens series, we released two new videos, at least, that became very popular and very controversial. So we did a clip of the Linux video where I basically bashed the Linux and the Linux community for being a whole bunch of trash people as well as a trash operating system. And the comments were, well, the comments were the comments in my YouTube section. So thank you guys for that engagement. All bad, but the comments were the comments. And also, you guys loved my video, almost at 1,000 views as of time of recording, on how to have your own RF spy bug. And I think this goes to show that the Tech Boy is going to be transitioning even more into a spy themed tech company. It's also going to be showing that you people are actually out there. You guys want to know about these kind of spy tools. You have been around for far too long, wondering about these stupid Wi-Fi cameras from like Timu or something, right? These stupid Wi-Fi cameras, when you actually want to know about the real 2.4 gigahertz remote cameras and how to access them on a computer. So, I'm going to continue to do this research so that we can find the best spy solutions for you. I promise you for that as well. This is also an election episode because we're going to be comparing the Courtney for president versus Shannon in Adventure Odyssey versus Lucille Monitor versus Cindy, the Valley Girl or Valley Lizard from Kids Corner. So lots of things to get into today. And we have two new SSA-LTW articles coming down the line. We're going to be analyzing SSA-LTW's foreign policy, and in the case of high school geopolitics, and what would happen if these things happen? What would happen if Ethan J won the election? What would happen if GCAM came together before November 17th? What would happen if GCAM didn't even exist? So, those are examples of some of the questions that we're going to be asking here. What if Samu became president? Who knows? So, hopefully SSA-LTW is not a dead brand. In fact, we hope to keep it into a new brand. In fact, we this week created the first printed version of the SSA-LTW book, and the person who received it really enjoyed it, said it was great. So that's an endorsement. Denver approved. All right. That's basically what we need to get into for today. So without further ado, we're going to get into the TechBoy.org's headlines from the TechBoy.org website. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this on the screen. Hopefully you guys like our new redesign. It is a bit, I guess, more fluffy, but it's a bit more, I guess, straight and to the point. So we still have our most popular articles. They're not top of the page anymore. They're still here. So this the first 5 most popular articles on the site here, and then we have the newest articles here as well. We still kept with our theme, our orange kind of yellowish theme, and maybe I should change this logo to, of course, be transparent and be the orange logo, because like I said, we're going to be still having our orange logo still be in our advertising and in our marketing, just not as much because it was super duper bright. All right, so here is the article. So, how to take neat ASCII pictures on your phone. This is application called. It should be linked. Wow, I forgot to link the application name in here. So the application is called ASCII Cam. It is just a picture of a camera with the black icon on it. And as you can see, this is a screenshot of what the thing looks like. That's actually my laptop right there. So, it's really interesting because you can see how all your, I guess, devices would appear if they were in ASCII format, which is, obviously these numbers here, which is representing via an image, is using Linux terminals as well. So it's a neat little art style there. They don't allow videos, but the same company does allow have a device application called Vector Cam, which does allow videos and does give not this kind of style, but does give some sort of a nice, unique style as well. So make sure you guys check those applications out. It may say that it's not compatible. If it's not, then just make sure that you have the the YouTube channel. And I'm just gonna check to make sure that. All right, great. Yes, it does. So if you don't have it, just make sure that you are able to get it from an APK file, and it runs perfectly well on my Samsung Galaxy S20 for Ultra. So it's going to run well on best latest versions of Android 1 UI 7.0. All right, now how to download YouTube transcripts in bulk. This is the program that I'm most excited for because I developed this by myself with Gemini, and it perfectly works. In fact, I got 133 transcripts on my computer. Just from my podcast as well. Now, the one problem with this program is that not a problem with the program, but the problem is that it, what's the word? When I merged all the transcript files together, I tried to search through my podcast transcripts to find all like the controversial and funny things that I say, and AI did not do a good job of doing that. So I'm still trying to use this to find clips that I can use of my channel, because we have over hundreds of articles on this as well. So 43 people have only viewed this, which I'm actually kind of shocked because the YouTube transcript downloader industry is actually very, very big. It's also very, very trash, right? The reason I decided to do a desktop application instead of a web application is I'm not going to pay for all those stupid server costs as well. And of course, I'm more pro desktop application than I am web application. And it's just like there's this other competing program with $9.99 a month to get your YouTube transcript downloaders in bulk. This one does it in bulk for $5 right now. It's on sale for 99 cents. So if you want to buy the program, just go to this article and click the link. So click the icon here, or you can click here, the download button, was retailing for 99 cents today. Make sure you guys can go buy the program. Here's a demo of the program. I can't do a live demo, not because it doesn't work, but because you'll see it shows my real computer's username and everything like that. We don't want to accidentally dox myself. So here is a demonstration of the program, of a video that I did here. Everything here is real time, real sped up. So I went and downloaded a podcast, or not a podcast, sorry, a playlist that had 7 videos in it. Everything in here is real time. Watch. And right now it is downloading, and this is the real icon there. It's at 100%. Just in a few seconds to download all 7 video transcripts and straight to your hard drive. And I'm just going to show this on the screen here. So all you have to do is you put in your playlist URL or video ID. Just copy your URL. You can also do single videos as well. Then you put in your YouTube API key. I go over how to get that in the article. It's totally free. Then you go to your output directory. You can even select it here on the screen, and then it works. It's tested for the English language. You press the start extraction video, and boom, you're there. And this right here is just the showing the log, which also shows my computer's username, which is why it is blacked out right there as well. So it is one of the fastest YouTube transcript downloaders that I have used, and it's one of the best YouTube transcript downloaders that I have used. So guys, make sure you go check this out. Only 99 cents right now on the store, and proceeds will be going straight to the Tech Boy after of course whatever the cut of Gumroad is. So if you guys want to buy this program, it is TechWiz 867.gumroad.com, or just go to thetechboy.org where you can see the program. This is the YouTube transcript downloader program created fully by me. And just make sure you buy it 99 cents today. $4.99 is the regular price. All right, so that is the program that we co-created with Gemini. I was able to figure it out. I was able to get the compile it here on my computer as well. No external help as well. So hopefully you guys check out this program. It's probably one of the Tech Boys' greatest accomplishments, in my opinion. I mean, we did multiple books, we've done a website, but now we have our own computer program, our own physical product, and we are working on porting it over from Windows to Android as well. And I'm actually starting to see why people like to use web apps, but nope, we're not going to turn this into web app. This is going to be a one-time purchase thing where you can get into this. And speaking of software, and we're not going to have a whole segment about this today because I am busy. NCH Software actually makes interesting software suite for Windows and for Android. So, it's great to see some of the offline software make a resurgence there, even if it's from Australia. So, yep, that is that. All right, now, I guess we can talk about our investigation into the TikTok thing here. Just a slide short tangent. This isn't TikTok, but it is Instagram. And, if they do get banned, this is where they will be going. But this is a screenshot of an Instagram comment section that I've uncovered. As you guys may remember, last year, the Tech Boy Media did an investigation where we scanned through 100 girls' Instagram profiles and then found out about 15.6% of them get questions about their appearance, comments complimenting them on their appearance. Well, this is one person that has about 1,000 or so followers here, and this is a straight screenshot. Just the names have been blurred out. And this is someone I know knows. Right, so this is like a real person, something like not an influencer or whatever. So without further ado, here we're going to pull it up on the screen, and you are all going to see the beauty and majesty of this comment section. And nope, it's not like the typical Instagram comment section filled with like racism or whatever. This is something worse. All right, not worse, but whatever. I'm just gonna quote here. Quote, "You are beautiful." What? With 4 T's. Quote, "Pretty girl!" Exclamation point. Beautiful girl! Exclamation point. Beautiful. OMG, so stunning. Adorable. Literally gorgeous. You're adorable. With 3 E's. Stop. You're adorable. Which if I had stock in the word adorable, I would be very, very happy at the time like this. Cutie, the cutest. Heart emoticon. You look stunning, adorable. OMG, love this. Hi, beautiful. And that's just screenshot panel 1. I actually had to use Samsung's scrolling screenshot functionality to get there. So I'm scrolling on to screenshot panel number 2. So pretty. I love you. You're adorable. We are seniors. 8. If I looked up Jesus Glow, your pic would pop up. How can someone be so pretty? Song. Why are you so dead drop gorgeous? Tell me your secret. You're so pretty. Gorgeous as always. You're so precious. OMG. I love you. You're beautiful. Yes, that is a real comment section from a real person with only 1,000 or so followers, which just goes to show that just go like full time. Go full time, and this just goes to show how important April Harper is to the Tech Boys media's growth strategy. Because if some random person with 1,000 followers can get about 30 comments of that nature, they're going to be bringing in that money in about 2 years. When they start getting brand deals or affiliate deals, because the engagement is up and it's 99% positive. Speaking of this, I went back into this account, and here's another quote. I'm not going to show it on the screen, but it's this quote here. It's in my photo pad from NCH Software, so shout out to them. Quote, "You have officially broken the record for the prettiest person to attend the Houston rodeo. Let me know when I can get your autograph." Emoticon with heart eyes, and then I guess blushing and covering your mouth there. So good things happening over on the Instagram front for 1.2 thousand follower accounts over there. So boost your Instagram, people, and this is what you're going to be getting. This is why Ava Harper is so important to the Tech Boy Media's growth. Also, again, we haven't seen any of this actually happen in real life. I only know one person that gets comments like that, but not to the extent of this scenario. All right, now talking about social media, teens are. I work so hard to defend you people. I've been out here, and the next topic is you're gonna see I've been out here. I've been out here defending you. You're gonna be wondering why I'm saying I've been defending you, because of these like stupid laws that are being passed and people are celebrating. Let me see if I can find the article. Yes, here we go from Not the Bee. Great website. Teens, I do so much to defend you all. Even if I am roasting you in your Instagram comments, but let's just read this headline in all its beauty. Quote, "The TikTok challenge has kids setting their school-issued laptops on fire." I don't even know where to begin with this. We don't have to go into this article. Okay, look, I shouldn't have to say this. And to the 3 people that are watching me, and are probably not teens, don't set laptops on fire in school. Okay, now that that's out there, how stupid are you people? Oh my gosh, who was setting their laptops on fire in school? And I thought, I actually saw someone actually posted a video of someone else doing this. So yeah, uh, you know, just don't. Okay, look, do we need a new reason to ban TikTok? Do not set your laptops on fire. And of course, there's also this trend where the teens are running through the fence, which, I mean, sure, it gives property damage, but it probably also gives them head damage, which they don't need anymore, because, I mean, the 2 brain cells they have left might have fallen out when they hit the fence. But I mean, at least it doesn't cause fires and poisoning, and have lithium fires, an actual environmental disaster. And now we're going to get further to the anti-laptop people. Going to be like, oh, you guys, we don't want a one-to-one classroom. Nah, we can't have kids with electronics, which, I'm all for it. I'm for, teens on social media and stuff like that. Y'all, don't do this. Don't do this. You're making Glenn Youngkin look, he is rolling. He's rolling around laughing because he just signed a bill. Governor of Virginia, by the way, he just signed a bill that would limit social media access for teens to 1 hour per day under the age of 16, and then parents can control more. Now, it's also limited to chat applications. So, look, I've just criticized teenagers for running through the fences and setting laptops on fire, and I'm now going to criticize the governor of Virginia. What an absolutely stupid, ridiculous bill! I swear, these people. Okay, first of all, the bill is not worth the paper that it is written on, because how the heck are you going to enforce it? How? Okay, sure. Magically, every 13-year-old teen in Virginia is now about to be 16. Also, it's according to how I read it, it's going to have to be like a per app basis. So it's also like a completely waste of money. Why should Instagram have to enforce how long people are using their application? Okay, this is almost as dumb as Google like telling people how long to use Bing advertising with their own money. Why does Instagram have to have to do this? Why should they waste their money on this? Because some team is schooling Instagram for this. Also limits chat applications, which is great. But you know what's about to become? Who's actually finally about to make some money? Snapchat. Because somehow Snapchat, I don't know how to make money. They have AI, they have chat, they have video, voice, and they don't make money because no one watches their ads of like the fat girl like the story running around, running around, whatever. But like, this law is stupid. First of all, let's say you have Instagram, TikTok. Okay, no teen is on X. Instagram, TikTok, whatever other, and add some third actual social media application, not Snapchat. That's 3 applications, 1 hour per each app. 3 apps, boom, you're great, you're done. Okay, the 3 hours is fine. You're just gonna have a whole bunch of influx of new 16-year-old accounts. Is it what you're gonna start face scanning them? Yeah, you please try to face scan someone over there because trying to gauge someone's age, as we saw last week, was near impossible. There's like this 20-year-old woman who was baking a pizza. Everyone thought she was 12. So good luck with face gauging or face scanning someone's application. Second of all, there are no penalties for circumventing this application. Like, most teenagers are not going into influencing career or a job. Even the ones that get 30 million comments like "You're so pretty" or "ILYSMY," which is the whole reason the SSA Department of Teen Change and Translation was set up, because I was scrolling through someone's comments, trying to gather some intelligence, and I was like, I cannot decode this. We're going to send this over to Clara from SSA LTW from NTV. So if you're watching, Clara, nice to meet you. Hi. Anyway. Okay, all they're going to do is, and they've been doing this for years, like for 10 years now, everyone's been talking about Finsters and alts and things like that. They're just going to create alts and alt accounts. There's no, of course there's not, there's no legal reason for this bill to exist. Just have the parents do it themselves. There should be no reason. It's a state law. That's, of course, it cannot be applied to the students. But you're going to start rating some 14-year-old for being on Instagram for an hour and 50 minutes instead of his set hour? Yeah, good luck with that, Virginia. Good luck. That's not what they're going to be doing. It's an absolutely abysmal law. They wasted taxpayer dollars to sit around there, type up the law, print it out, and give it to all the little Virginia representatives who have to read it. They have to read it, go out there, debate it, and then Glenn Youngkin has to sign it while, I don't know, Fox News and CNN were pointing the cameras at him, and with all the teens and like the crunchy mom sitting around behind him, and they all clap their hands. All what this for a fake law that's going to be circumvented by like a teen in 2 seconds? Wait, you think this is going to circumvent teens from blowing up their laptops or blowing up their running through the fences? No, because look, in the 1980s, the same teens that are blowing up their laptops and the same teens that are dumb enough to run through a fence were dumb enough to do dumb things back then too. You just wouldn't know about it because they weren't posting it online. In fact, I would wager to say that there were more dumb teens in the 1980s than there were in 2020. It's just that we see more dumb teens now because you can actually see them right now. Because if I want to access some random teen from Wisconsin right now, I can access some random teen from Wisconsin doing some dumb thing. Okay, this law is not worth the paper it's printed on, and it's ridiculous. Okay, and look, I will not be for laws that would have limited and restricted. But what I did back to start this company. Look, I started this company when I was 13 years old, and I'm not going to stand in the way of any other smart teen who wants to stand there and create a tech media company because I'm a dumb teen on social media blew up their laptop or something like that. No, look. All right, first of all, this law is not worth the paper it's printed on, and even if Glenn Youngkin can somehow figure out how to enforce this law, it's trash. Okay. And Teen Pack, I will call them, and they will get things moving underway. You know who should be banned from social media, and this is going to be very, very, very controversial. So I'm just going to keep yapping here, but let me see if I can find. All right, do you know who should be? Let me see if I can find it. Yes. Here it is. So it's always these like random, and they're always in like screenshots or whatever. It's always the apolitical black woman on like X or whatever. Okay, those are the ones. Like, look at this poster. Does this even make sense? Does it just even make sense? Quote, I told him he must have had the wrong number because what do you mean? I gave this guy my number at some event like 2 months ago, and he called me today. Question mark, like 20 million question marks. I told him he must have the wrong number, but what do you mean? That's crazy. It's always these like random, like vibe posters who like, I just got home from the NRG Stadium, IOI or something. It's just like, no, we don't want this. No one cares about your stupid little thoughts. Okay. No one cares. Glenn Youngkin, you go sign a band. Okay, it's wasting money and electricity. By the way, Virginia is the number one. It has like the fastest internet because they have all like the spy agencies there as well. So, they're wasting valuable NSA and FBI resources. So Youngkin, please go instruct the Department of Justice. Go look into that. Speaking of the Department of Justice, just total clown show over there again. Going around and targeting Google, and Google's bringing in everyone from Anthropic to like all these other random to Motorola. Saying how like, I don't know, having Google as the default search engine might be a good thing. Who knows? ridiculous. All right, now that we're still on the topic of teen girls and social media and things like that. The 2005 teen girl trend, and this is kind of shown in like media. I think Haley did it. Haley Morrison, and Tamika Washington, in like the 2006 episode. We're like, oh, that's so weird or icky. It's so weird. All right, now speaking of Invention Odyssey, Courtney for president versus Shannon. Courtney, not Courtney Neal, but Courtney, whoever is in Invention Odyssey. What's your last name? Vincent. It's in this episode called "The Election Deception," which I think I wrote a title for SSALTW on that. The Election Deception. Yes, Courtney Vincent. We got to talk about this episode because I am such a huge fan of elections. I'm such a huge fan of democracy. Democracy, our most sacred value, has to be upheld. Democracy, freedom, and yes, I know we're a constitutional republic. Don't come at me, people in my comment sections. We're a constitutional republic, but yeah, we love democracy. Look, see that democracy, great. All right, anyway, I really like election episodes, but this one's pretty one of the best here, and it kind of drove SSA foreign policy. When I was reading about this on the AIO wiki back in 2019, because I didn't have a club subscription yet until 2020. Anyway, here we go. The election deception, which always rhymes. I always like when people like talking about elections. The aesthetics of politics, like the salutes and the hand waves, and like the like people going out there and doing press conferences and things like that. It's so cool. Hi, stuff like that. It's just so great, so great. All the pictures and like they're walking into a car or something like that. Just top tier, top tier. That's what we've had to emulate over in SSA for like the rallies and standing in front of a Cybertruck with all the people with smoke coming up behind the with smoke coming up behind the thing, with drones flying overhead. It's so epic, so epic. I see why people would want for president, even if they lose. It's fun. It's a fun experience. Anyway, here we go. The election deception. When Courtney Vincent's diary disappears from the locker, events conspire against him in the hopes of becoming the duly elected president of the student council. Now, there's one small problem with this, and let's talk about Shannon, the other candidate here. She's running against Shannon. Oh, she doesn't have a last name, but Shannon is actually smart. She's conniving, she's evil, but she's actually smart because she is able to gain access to this locker here as well, and she's also able to somehow stay away from the Oppo researchers and Lucy Cunningham salts because the Oppo researchers should have been able to bust her, because the episode I heard right before this was the episode where she has a house party and the police come by and they arrest her like college friends or whatever, her brother's college friends, and it's loud and she gets in a whole bunch of trouble. And she's also like a head cheerleader. So this woman here, Shannon, was able to get all these people to come to a party because she was the head cheerleader, and she had the power to decide. I don't know why the head cheerleader gets to decide who the new cheerleaders are, and then the cheerleaders become popular. So Shannon should have won this election. I mean, she probably would have won this election if she didn't go underhanded and dirty and do dirty moves like this, because she was able to come together and create an event which will make people popular, and then B, she becomes popular, and then she gets to decide who gets to be popular. So essentially, she gets to pick who her friends and enemies are, and if she picks Courtney or whatever, if she picks Erica or whatever, and she becomes president, she can either influence her, she can either influence someone who's in her cheerleading wing, or she can run for president, and she's already popular, so she wins, easy. And she's also able to use her access. They explain how in the episode to gain access to her locker and use this information to undermine Courtney, because Courtney, unfortunately, even though she's smart, she's out there running for president. And I don't condone what Shannon did here, but she's smart. She knew what she wanted and she did it. I said that about some other girl, but I forgot who it was and I couldn't search in the transcript. So let's just get that clip out there. She essentially blackmails Courtney without anyone knowing and tricks her into showing up to campaign rallies and events. She steals her speeches. She posts mean information that Courtney has written about all around the school, and even drives a wedge between Courtney and Erica's friendship. Now, she only makes one mistake, and that is Courtney wrote a victory speech in her notebook, and for some reason Shannon used the same speech, which doesn't even make sense. Like, Shannon, if you're smart, write your own speeches. Like, why do you have to steal her speech? That doesn't even make sense. If Shannon had never stolen her speech, the introduction speech and the victory speech, she would have never gotten caught. No one would have ever known that her journal was stolen, and she would have won this election. And Shannon, even though she's an evil, conniving little girl, probably deserved to win this election. She is very, very smart. I mean, heck, she was able to have the Oppo researchers not know that, the police were at her house at a party. Like, how did that not come into play in the election? Now, Courtney, she's smart here. She's running out for president. But the one problem is, why are you keeping your diary, a journal of all your personal events, not your speeches, but of all the information that you have on people, including, and of course it comes down to this, that she had a crush on Rusty Gordon, which it's always a crush. It's always that. Do not write that down. Don't have one, but don't write it down. It's just, why? Why would you write that down? I don't get it. And then she also wrote down some mean stuff about Erica because she's like mean and annoying and things like that. And of course, that breaks down their friendship. Which, I mean, if you're going to write that stuff down, don't do it. But if you have to, if you must, write this stuff down. Don't bring it to school, of course, in the middle of an election. How is this is politics 101. Don't bring information that could be detrimental to your campaign to campaign headquarters. How is this hard, Courtney? How is this hard? The modern day version of this would be essentially taking screenshots of all your snaps and then like posting them on Facebook. Why would you do that? Courtney. But of course she got caught because Shannon made two mistakes and I'm led to believe that Courtney was to win the presidency. All right, now there's also another election happening in Downgate Lane, where we're going to get to the Downgate Lane election later on in time. Let's talk about the Kids Corner election. Not the Kids Corner election in which Liz wins 3 votes, which is just, how do you win 3 votes just because you argued with someone? I'm sorry. This is the latest post on. In fact, let's just do the most ridiculous Kids Corner episodes. So I ranked the most ridiculous Kids Corner episodes in every season, and the election episode was one of those things. So that's kind of like really kicking off the theme of our election episode themes here. So let's get through this. The most ridiculous Kids Corner episodes. Season 1, Lost and Found, part 1 of 2. This episode should not exist. Okay, look, I get it's a parody of like the parable, the parody of the parable of the prodigal son. Wow, that's a tongue twister there. But like, the prodigal son actually did something wrong in this episode. Liz, the agreement beforehand is that he can keep the cookies that he bakes and do whatever he wants with them. So he invokes the agreement, and Linda gets mad at him because he did what they said he could be agreed to do. This is me getting mad. Like if say Poland got invaded or something, and then they invoked Article 5, and everyone got mad because they invoked Article 5. Like what? That's what the NATO document is for. Okay, he invoked the agreement that he could do. Like he got tired of baking cookies, he took his cookies and went home. Now look, did he have bad policy? Should he have given them out to some of the meanest people in town? No, he shouldn't. But that's not a sin. That's not a crime. That's not wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. Why is he up there apologizing for doing what he agreed to do, and then following the rules of the agreement, and then leaving? That makes no sense. All right, season 2. All right, these episodes are ridiculous. Okay, so this article is supposed to be for the love of Liz, but then like I realized it was only about 2 paragraphs long. So let's talk about For the Love of Liz. So Liz says, quote, "Oh geez," end quote. And he takes God's name in vain. And Grandpa Noli and Granny Gecko literally could take full military tribunals after he says that. I mean, literally, they spy on all of the kids in the town, which is like 10, to find out how they took God's name in vain. And I kid you not. Now, most of these kids are actually sinned. But I kid you not. Somehow the teachers were spying on the private prayers of students and in the soccer games. Yes, according to Reframe Media, praying that your team wins a soccer game is taking God's name in vain, which is just the worst theology ever. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. Okay, first of all, the entire premise that you're going to somehow be able to get everyone, including Skink, the town bully, to come to your farm, or what? Or freaking what? What are they going to do? What, kick you out of school? They can't do that. But anyway, they all show up, and then they all show how they're taking God's name in vain. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this in the article, but everyone in the town, for some reason, is saying, instead of saying, oh, geez, or whatever, they're saying, oh, Liz. And apparently that's somehow supposed to teach Liz that taking God's name is in vain is bad because he got annoyed with people saying, oh, Liz. So just what is the premise of this? All right, now for the love of Liz, the election episode. Liz runs for student council president. He has one argument with Lucille, and he loses 70-3. How? How do you lose 70-3? 70-3. Look, Liz is running up against one of those candidates who's like, I'm going to do the right thing. He's like a Lucille Cunningham type of candidate, right? Liz is the coach of Kids Corner, okay? Liz is the Coach Stevens of Kids Corner. How, and Liz is making all these like outlandish promises and things like that, whatever. But he has one argument with Lucille, and the whole school's like, yep, we're going off the node, 7-3. Could you imagine if, a United States presidential candidate got up there and, had an argument with someone, and they lost 49-1? Okay, last time that happened was in 1984, and that's not why he lost. All right, now, how do you get 3 votes? Doesn't even make sense. All right, anyway, season 3. Students are investigating God Prince and what not to wear. But, as the modesty debater, I'm going to pick what not to wear. So this episode makes absolutely no sense. So Lucille wears something quote-unquote immodest. They don't tell us what it is. But as she puts on these clothes, she gets invited to join the Iguanas, the local bully group of Skink, to join their club She stops caring about Bible study, and she stops and then she's supposed to babysit someone so that she can, make some money to buy a CD player. But the person sees her in this, like, I don't know, maybe the scope was like passed too close up to it. I don't know. Do lizards have knees? Anyway, it was like a hem length above the knee or whatever. I don't know. Let's focus on the family. And she got fired. Like, what? They're like, oh, how dare you? How dare you, Lucille Monitor, come up into this place wearing a mini skirt? You're fired. Never come in here again. And then she returns the clothes and feels bad because yeah, how dare she wear a skirt? All right, anyway, Loaves and Fishes. Liz teaches, this is actually one episode that I missed before, so it was really fun to being able to hear it. Liz teaches the kids to repent from the monkey bars. He literally gets on the monkey bars and says, repent! Repent, therefore! Tries to write a book, accidentally breaks a house and teaches the Bible lesson and this whole thing, and goes over the Greek word for thee in Genesis 1:1, which, as if you guys don't know, Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning God created the heavens and earth. He goes over an entire lesson over the words in thee. Hour-long lesson. Meanwhile, Lucille wants to be a missionary in Afghanistan, but a mean, lying, conniving neighbor hates her after she asks for some money. So Miss Trollskull writes a mean letter to the church, and the church is like, well, she's this random lady we've never heard of wrote a mean letter. So and Lucille's like, rightly points out, hey, she's mean, she's conniving, she's evil, and they point out she's like, well, you got hate in your heart, you can't go to Afghanistan. Sorry. All right, season 5. What time is it? Lucille, I've talked about this, but Lucille gets distracted by high-speed email, and then the next episode, the next season is about internet shopping. So it is obvious that VFund Media and Kids Corner were going for a whole kind of internet safety type of thing here. But like, who was she emailing? Who? And also, this takes you out of character because she has not done a single wrong thing yet. I mean, other than, I guess, wear leggings. I don't know. All right, season 6. I almost picked the internet shopping episode. Racing to Win, which is just lying to kids is okay if you tell them that cutting a field is actually racetrack driving practice. And oh yeah, we'll pretend to like faint in the back of a car to get the kid to drive you home to the hospital because they think they're about to die. And committing felonies is fine. That's what Racing to Win is. Yeah, lying to church out and getting to commit felonies and driving stuff like that. I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of lying and felonies. But if you are, that's fine with me. All right, season 7, 6 o'clock. So apparently these 10-year-old lizards have been upgraded from solving why God is good sometimes in their life to investigating a stolen diamond mystery, which really skewed how I viewed the world because I thought, hey, maybe I get to solve a stolen diamond mystery, and I've solved nothing of that nature yet. Purloined Pie, season 8. This doesn't even make sense. Maybe you're supposed to believe that after 7 seasons of Lucille being the goody two-shoes character, she's just like randomly running around the town stealing pies off of windows. No. All right, season 9, A Fair Shake. It's really a frustrating Kids Corner episode. Lucille reports that she gets a test answer wrong, and then she gets mad that the teacher graded it wrong. But, Miss Waddle is one of the most annoying characters, so I understand that why. And then Skink manipulates Liz into thinking that Big Daddy, his boss, is ripping him off with his wages. So then, no, Skink does not get the job. This kid called Scooter gets the job, which makes no sense. What goal does Skink have to trick Liz out of getting a job and replacing with Scooter? In fact, Scooter, in what's her name, was beating Skink in an election, and then for some reason they had another election after that. So I don't know why, but Scooter was beating Liz was beating Skink in an election. So it's not like Skink likes Scooter at all. Right? Skink is just a bully. All right, halfway point. Yeah. So to teach kids that bad music is bad, they have this bad music star come in, and Spike really likes him, and then the bad music star kidnaps him and steals a car and drives off with him because apparently Ubu doesn't exist in season 10. All right, season 11. It's it's basically a 2-part episode, a one-off, and then a giant 7-point series. So it changed Kids Corner into the modern show it is now by introducing some new characters and WOCR. This is Christian radio station, which actually is a key point here. Because, like, Liz starts a Christian radio station, and then in a few more episodes, he's, like, robbing banks. Well, not banks, but, like, essentially doing the equivalent of robbing a bank for a 6th grader. All right, so this episode creates one of the best songs of all time, God is in Control. But we have to hear some stank, absolute garbage music, quote unquote, to get through. It is rough. Okay, so they're trying to write a song, and it is rough. I mean, apparently These people couldn't create a song until atheist new character Johnny Anoli tells them that, hey, maybe the instrument playing is not the most important. Because, All right, season 12. It is something. Season 12 is something. Okay, so they're finally in middle school, which if you've been keeping track, Liz started the band, got kidnapped, hosted a radio station, investigated jewel heist all before turning 11, and vandalizes a rival school. So, Liz, in season 12, investigates a jewel thief again, solves a jewel thief again, and then a few episodes later, they steal someone else's statue. So, our moral superior, Lizardo Quintus Lacerda, has apparently forgotten that theft is wrong 3 episodes after he ended up in the newspaper for solving theft. Yes, you're a great Christian radio host there, guys. All right, now season 13. Yeah, season 13 has the demonic lizards faking their faith, and I'm still going to pick Hold the Phone, which is a ridiculous episode because tech has regressed so far back in 2013. And the top of the line phone is literally the Nokia N95, which is, heck, it's better than the light phone. It's better than the light phone. And Liz has something worse than that. He lost his phone, and mean texts appear on his friends' phones. And unfortunately for him, his friends are not sane. So he texts the person who stole the phone, texts the cheerleaders and the football people. Instead of, I don't know, blocking him, reporting him, taking it up with their parents. Nah, they decide to chase him throughout the town square. Yeah, if I decided to chase people that said mean things about me online, I would never, ever stop running. They chase him through the town square for some reason. Why? Why are you chasing him through the town square? Like, do you cheerleaders have nothing better to do? And yes, they are brain dead because Cindy says he insulted my intelligence, and Spike retorts, "There's nothing to insult," which is one of the funniest lines there. Also in editing, I'll put in the line here. All right, season 14, love season. Yeah, this episode, Granny Gecko just drops $500 at the park for Spike and Liz to pick up, and then just like gives them an experiment on what they're going to do with $500. And then she calls the Lizardo Detective Agency midway through, and she's like, "So, have you guys seen $500?" It's like, what? What kind of premise is this? All right, season 15, Sinful Saturday. Famed Christian radio host Lizardo Quintus Lacerda is bored on a Saturday. So what does he do? Apparently, he can't be at the station. No, so he's just ding dong ditching Mistral skulls, dropping water balloons on cars, and rides in the stolen car. Typical stuff. Typical stuff. Somehow in one episode, Christian radio host has done more sins or more crimes actually than I ever have in my entire life. So good job for him there. All right, season 16, lying is fun again. Down to the nerves teaches kids that. So Liz is scared of his dentist named Dr. Payne, which, why are you named that? Okay, that's kind of your fault. Or your mom's fault. Because his name is Payne. So then school devises to teach Liz a lesson. So he goes to Dr. Payne and tells him to lie, essentially. So Liz meets Dr. Payne, doesn't know who he is, in the Big Daddy-O's, and Dr. Payne talks to Liz and basically says Dr. Payne is crazy and mean and ugly to his face, to Liz's face. So what? He's not supposed to believe what the an adult is literally saying to him, to his face right there? Or he said, I heard this, right? And then when he goes into Dr. Payne's office, Dr. Payne is then dressed up, mean, ugly, snaggly truth, scary. And it's all this big reveal to prove that, actually, you shouldn't judge people by their last names, what people are saying about them. I mean, if someone says that they're mean, and their last name is mean, and someone in the middle of the street just randomly says they're mean, maybe you'll believe that they're mean. Great morals there, Reframe Media. Great morals there. Season 7, Tall Liar's Tone. Oh yeah. Yeah, so somehow Liz lies about rescuing someone to become student of the week, because apparently all of what Liz has done for the town has not been good enough to become student of the week. He's been kidnapped like at least twice at this point. He runs a radio show. He's been in the paper. He solved multiple crimes, multiple mysteries. And that's not good enough to get into the news. But cold bungee jumping is. But anyway, Liz lies his way to national TV, and the hosts don't fact check him. Don't go back and see that he actually swallowed a bug when drowning. But his best friend Lucille's able to find this out. Yeah, I'm gonna go. No, that's not gonna happen. You think I could just like pretend and lie my way all the way up onto Fox News, the cable channel, and just make stuff up with no one, not one person on the channel is gonna be like, hey, wait, maybe this kid's lying. Yeah, no, okay. Side tangent here. But speaking of Fox News weather in particular, how is Fox News weather in business? I'm serious. How is that channel in business? It's free. It is just the weather channel, and you can see what's going on in Iowa right now. Like, who is watching that channel? And how are they making money? And also, how are they doing? How are their graphics so good? It's insane. It's insane. Let's see if I can find the image of this. This is from the cable channel. This is from the cable channel, but it's still interesting for a technological thing here. I've always wanted to know how like these news editing people do it. So I'm just gonna switch back over here. I don't know who this woman is. Well, look at that. Look at these graphics right here, and the camera. It's so good, and all the graphics in the screens like that. I mean, it's so cool. How did they do that? It's amazing. All right, side tangent. Back to a regular scheduled program. We have to find out how to do that. How to do that. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, and you couldn't even see it. So these are the graphics I was talking about here. I mean, look at this. Look at this high-tech stuff right here. And the blur, the bokeh, and the stuff they're doing back there. I mean, it's so cool. So cool. All right, anyway, back to our regular scheduled program. All right, season 18. The new improved Kayla teaches kids that being pop star is bad or something. I don't know. And lights out Lucille. Lucille literally throws Liz's phone into a ravine because he's on it doing a nature walk, and the power is out in town. Because apparently throwing people's phones through ravines is just okay. Because you don't want them to play a game or something like that. And when it finally turns back on, Granny Gacker's like, electricity bad. We don't need electricity. We like the dark. We like the dark. All right, season 19. Change of plans. So Lucille gets sick. So Liz, famed Christian radio broadcaster, has to step in and lead a Bible camp. And his version of Bible camp is, Colossians. Colossians has a colossal amount of stuff about Jesus in there. So, yeah. That's basically Liz's theology right there, which is a far cry back from Liz's original theology of Envy taking an hour long. And in season 20 is essentially a 4-part finale, which is just this random woman tries to take over Tween in 4 episodes and gets foiled by the all-powerful Almighty. This is what a detective agency. All right, speaking of detective agencies, auto decrypt Caesar Cipher on Android. So if you have this application, the Caesar Cipher application, this will actually decrypt Caesar ciphers that you have automatically on Android phones. Really, really great. Maybe we should add this to our spy series. So make this out. I'm going to make a short about this. And again, how to make a 3D spinning Earth background on ArcGIS. Earth, this links back to our spy series as well. I'm going to see if I can play the video for you guys. So yeah, that's a great video here. It actually kind of looks better quality than Google Earth sometimes as well. Just make sure you trim off a few seconds from the back so that you're able to see it. All right, we have so much to get through today, and I actually have a Bible study I have to do. So I'm actually going to go and cut this and go to a YouTube video reaction here because this guy, he kind of made me mad. He kind of made me mad in this YouTube video reaction. So let me pull up my YouTube history. This is the top 25 ugliest smartphones ever. And I think this guy needs a new what ugly means. Here. All right, here we go. I'm going to actually mute that until we get to the ad. Hope you can see this. I need to buy a pair of headphones.
Getting their first phones.
It's a full-size
plan for your mini.
All right.
Nothing like that.
Well,
I actually like this channel here. So,
boom time. Xfinity Wi-Fi is boom.
Right, boom.
Now I love and you get really fast internet and unlimited mobile for $40 a month for a year.
I can just mute my
Wi-Fi boom.
the hardware keys on that. I'll just go back. All right.
Odin Valhalla Rising, now available on mobile and PC.
So these are the top 25 ugliest smartphones ever made. All right, so 1 would be the worst, 25 would be the least ugly here as well. So we're going to be reviewing what the ugliest smartphones of all time would be considered to be. All right, ready? So let's hear them out. Actually, we don't need to hear the intro. All right, here we go. The first phone, ready?
25. Kicking things off at number 25 from 2008, we have the HTC Dream. Also,
no. Look, in this house, we kneel for the cross and we stand for the HTC 2008 Dream. Look, this is the first ever Android phone, and you want to call this one of the ugliest phones of all time? Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This is not one of the ugliest phones of all time. In fact, this phone is one of the most beautiful phones of all time. Let's hear what this guy's explanation about one of the ugliest phones of all time is. He will show some respect to the HTC Dream 2008, which is better. It is better than any iPhone that ever has and ever will come out today. This phone is amazing.
Known as the T-Mobile G1. Nothing like starting off with a fun but no doubt controversial pick.
Yeah, it's controversial because it's wrong. It's totally wrong. All right, I'm going dang, 480p can't even run. What kind of computer is this?
And I really can't tell if this design is ugly or cool. Maybe
It's cool.
both. I do have a soft spot for these slider phones. But in any case, if you don't recognize this phone, it is
Look at this design here. We got a touchscreen. We got all the buttons. We can barely see the buttons, so I'm gonna have to put this in at least 244p. And we even have a smooth camera bump. I mean, what more could you want?
the first Android smartphone ever. Yes, this is what the first Android ever looks like. In my opinion, modern Androids should clearly be taking notes. Okay, but seriously, there is a lot of reason to dislike this design with a thick bottom bezel that has the 3.2-inch screen slide up on the left side to reveal the landscape keyboard. That bezel also kind of sticks out with this phone having a more classic phone banana sort of shape, which is a bit odd, but not uncommon.
That's fine. Okay, look, it's gonna cove into your hand. What, you don't like curved phones like that? And he also goes on in this thing. We cannot go. We can't go through all of this. Okay, I have like 20 minutes left. He goes on to say that he didn't like the trackball and the input options. Look, we need more input options here. So yes, in this house, we are going to support and we're going to show some respect to this phone. But let's go to phone number 24. All right, here we go. So this is the
confusion does quickly set in. Really hate it. Overly convoluted name for a clearly overly convoluted design. At first glance, I don't really hate it, but when you start to look at what is actually going on, the confusion does quickly set in. If you enjoy having as many input options as possible,
which we should have more input options than less. More buttons. We want more buttons on our phones. That's one thing that Apple's getting right there. We want more buttons on our phones.
Oh boy, was this ever the phone for you. Not only do we have a sliding QWERTY keyboard, separate dial pad, this whole navigation button setup, but you also have the 2.8-inch 240.
Yes, sir. Look, we want our styluses, we want our buttons, we want our keyboards, we want our trackpads,
touchscreen, and a stylus, plus a whole bunch more buttons around the device. Powered by Windows Mobile 6, this was a heavy hitter for smartphones of the time. It just so happened to have the unfortunate situation of being released the same year as the iPhone, which
that's sad, but okay.
Of course, had like one button on
the and that's sad. Look, I never knew how to do those things.
Front. The back of this phone isn't too bad, if a bit boring, featuring a 1.3 megapixel camera, and the device as a whole is very bulky. Also, what's with the font for this dial pad? Why are all the characters skewed like this? And I understand why you have the letters on the keys as well, so you can type the old-fashioned way by hitting the numbers multiple times, but why would you ever do that when you have a sliding keyboard?
Because it's fun. Okay, you want to touch the buttons more times like that. What if the keyboard hinge broke right there? Did you ever think about that? Huh?
This is an interesting phone and kind of cool looking in a weird way, but the design is a mess.
Yeah, you will show some respect to that phone, but yeah, it is kind of ugly. In all seriousness. All right, now let's go. It's the Lamborghini phone. If it ever shows today. There we go.
So they compromised and did both, and it's just not right, man. The 3.5-inch 480p touch.
I mean, how is he calling this ugly? He's saying this is the 23rd most ugly phone, not the most not the most useful. No, 23rd most ugly phone, and it has a nice curved body and a nice bottom bezel, and it's red. 23rd most ugly.
Screen is surrounded by those huge black bezels and
that's how phones looked back then.
Plastic frame, and you've got this very rounded top and bottom, but still
it's weird looking. It reminds me of a TV remote, but I say it's 23rd most ugly phone. I know some ugly phones, okay?
Kind of sharp corners, which gives the phone a distinctive shape. Shipping with Android 2.1.
Reminds me of the Windows Mobile phone. All right, now this is just heresy right here. This is just wrong. Okay, people used to be punished
centered camera
and stuff like this.
At number 22 from 2012, we have the Samsung Galaxy S3.
How can you call this the 22nd most ugly phone on planet Earth? And this is what a phone looks like nowadays. I mean, sure, there's like a few less bezels and a few more cameras, but this is if someone asked you to draw a phone, this is what they would draw at least 5 years ago. You're saying this is the 22nd most ugly phone on planet Earth, and it's just a slab Samsung phone. Now look, yes, the bezels are a bit thick. I don't know why they added this thing here. They did take that away from the S4, but like, get a grip. 22nd most ugly. Come on.
The phone most definitely designed for humans, as Samsung's slogan prominently lets you know.
Samsung Galaxy S3. Designed for humans.
Okay, so I heavily debated including this phone, and I already know there's going to be anger in the comments because, you know, a lot of people actually owned this phone.
Yeah, there's a reason for that one right there. It is not ugly. It is not ugly. Okay, we will not stand for this heresy. We're not going to stand for this blasphemy against the Samsung Galaxy S3.
But the reality is, the sentiment towards this device's design has historically been very negative on the internet.
The sentiment towards lots of things have been negative on the internet. It doesn't mean it's right, but the internet is probably almost never right. Okay, all right, now here we have this phone here. All right, what's the next one?
At number 21 from 2003, we have the Palm Trio 600, and
Palm Trio 600. All right.
And yet again, I can feel the anger emanating from the comment section.
I mean, I'd be angry too. I mean, does this guy have a set of eyes? Like, this person would be like, as you guys know, Ava is statistically, scientifically coded to be pretty, right? And we scan through like all the Instagram people, scan the faces in, highlight the best features, go to AI, find out what the best person would look like and things like that. Okay, so this person is essentially saying like what we code Ava to be: long hair, hourglass figure. When we code Ava to be, he would be like, oh, yep, that's ugly. Yeah, 99% of people would agree with me. This phone is not ugly. I mean, but this still looks good.
Already, look, there's no question, this is a legendary phone, and it comes from a different era, one long before iPhones. Well, 4 years before iPhones. It's
really interesting. Like, you could probably do all the same stuff you do except for social media on this phone today than you can on this one. In fact, I was seeing these videos of people using some old budget phones, like a $40 phone, and also Linus Tech Tips was using some Samsung budget phone, the A36, I believe, and it's like just as good as his phone. Which is like, we really need to start innovating, or people are just going to start buying A21s and be like, well, we're good. No, it's pretty sad how all these budget phones are competing on features and competing on price and competing on cameras, and they're all coming up to like even flagships from 2 or 3 years ago, and people are still holding on to those flagships from 2 or 3 years ago. The S22 Plus, I had that phone, it's like crack. The S22 Ultra, if there's being competed with, A phones of today, you can't really feel it unless you're gaming. I mean, the phone industry's dead, and that's not good.
Is this an ugly smartphone? By modern standards, sure, but for the time, it was sort of slick.
It's not an ugly smartphone. It's a nice-looking smartphone. Let's remember that this phone is closer to the Gulf War. This phone is closer to the Cold War than it was closer than now. Okay? That'll show some respect to our elders here. Okay, this phone is literally older than me. All right, here we go. LG Optimus View.
At number 20 from 2012, we have the LG Optimus View.
I really want you to hear his explanation for why it's ugly, because of all the phones here, I might actually disagree with him. This is the second most.
Duck with this 5-inch display at a 4:3 aspect ratio.
I hope we can see more of sometimes. Nice wide screen.
Along with this stylus that had to be carried separately. Apparently, there was no slot for it in the phone itself. And I mean, it's pretty big, so that makes sense. But like, yeah, who's gonna bring this around with them anyway? By 2012, phablets were already getting pretty, big, and perhaps LG thought they could get ahead of the pack by making their phone wider rather than taller. The exact opposite direction smartphone design would ultimately head in, because it's uncomfortable to hold.
Nah. We want wide phones.
Sure, the phone was slim, and the 5-inch display wasn't bad.
It also looks very high-tech. Like what you'd see in a book, like, oh yeah, guys, you can FaceTime, video call with someone. Maybe just to be like the access point to a door. Just very, very high tech looking.
Per se,
nice UI, nice design.
But it was still uncomfortable to hold. This phone is just so boring looking. Even if you can forgive.
No, it's not boring looking. That is a respectable phone right there.
The weird form factor, which I can't, by the way. From the front, it's pretty basic. Capacitive navigation buttons. Thick black bezels, standard enough. The back features this textured plastic that sort of resembles leather, but most definitely wasn't leather, and apparently felt quite cheap in the hand. And you've got this weird logo by the 4G LTE wordmark that might have you actually think this is a Windows phone, but no, it ran Android 2.3 Gingerbread. Don't forget the Windows logo when this phone came out looked a little bit different. Again, there was no slot for the stylus, which was called the Rubber Diem Pen.
Is the word stylus trademarked?
Am I saying that right? It's a dumb name anyways. But yes, no slot for the stylus, which is somehow even dumber than the name itself. But what we do have is an included TV antenna.
And that's what I want to say here. We need more TV antennas on our phones. In fact, this guy was reviewing the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and it had a ultraviolet sensor. And that's what I want to see. More sensors on our phones. Yes, sir. We need to have more sensors, more antennas, more connectivity on our phones. We need to build that onto our phones today. It should be. It should be. Yes, sir. And we're going to go through more of these videos next week because more of the video next week because we're not going to be able to get through the entire thing in today's podcast episode. So let me just finish up here. All right, now let me pull up what's the next thing we had on the agenda before we went into this. Because look, I will not tolerate T-Mobile G1 disrespect. Oh, we still have not talked about the election in Kids Corner. All right, so let's talk about the election in Kids Corner. I actually have a newspaper that I actually want to show you this, and I have a one more thing. There we go. All right, so the election in Kids Corner is actually pretty interesting. So Valley Girl Cindy decides to go against Lucille Monitor after she shreds her opponent Ryan, which I mean doesn't really make sense. Like, okay, Ryan was not going to win anyway. His personality, he wasn't big enough to compete with Cindy. But like, if your opponent is like, being mean and spreading rumors and stuff like that, that's just why would you drop out of the race? Because your opponent said some mean things about you. One of the things that she said about Lucille was loose will instead of calling her Lucille in a campaign ad, which is, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, would you drop out if this guy named Ryan, which is really interesting because Ryan was the mayor of Kidsborough. If this guy named if Ryan was called Lion Ryan, I just came off that, and people started calling him that. Like, no, I wouldn't drop out the race. I'd be like, no, I'm not a liar. I'd come back in and start fighting. But I guess that's just me. The election in Kids Corner, it's just Lucille focusing on the issues, and for some reason the kids actually care about the issues, which is kind of weird. And Cindy really, really fighting. She's using her Valley Girl accent. She's basically saying, hey, we're not really going to have work. Lucille's going to force you to have a lot more work. And then Cindy, even though she's portrayed as really dumb and having no brain cells, she actually plants evidence so that Spike picks it up and says, I've been cheating on my science tests. About her. And then she calls the teacher up there to testify. And she's like, Lucille Monitor did not cheat. Hello, you. Anyway, she's like, Lucille Monitor, Cindy Crawford did not cheat. And it's really interesting. Like, it's just, it's just, the episode makes no sense. Okay, it's, yeah, all right, now over to the Alvin advertiser in the Sun, Alvin.net. This is an actually decent newspaper, other than like me trying to search for like crime statistics here, because apparently the last crime that happened in Alvin, Texas was in 2018. But like, look at this. You have actual news that's actually in the community of actual like people, things that actually people actually care about. Like you have your political news here, but you actually have your okay, that's from 2022. But you have your actual interesting stories here that people might actually care about. And then you actually have advertising and classified sports and things like this. So shout out to the Alvin newspaper right there. So really, yeah, here it is. Shout out to the Alvin newspaper right there. Really, really interesting here. Now, one thing that I do want to propose here, and I'm proposing this to all my fans, after the TikTok investigation or whatever. There's this application called Citizen, which has an API, and you can see all the crimes that have been committed around you and around your city or whatever right now. So I'm just going to go into it. And most of these crimes are not reported by the local news. Like I said, the local news has huge problems with, actually being local. Like you go into KPRC or Fox 26, whatever. It's trash. All right, so here's some local news events that happened around here. Oh, that was yesterday. But anyway, there was a vehicle collision. There's some fights, posed and stealing. Let me just click the map again. Police activity. Someone may need assistance. Police have received a report of a woman with a handgun in her purse making threats near a liquor store. So many interesting stories that happen close to you, but like no one really reports on, no one really cares on. But Citizen has an API. So if someone were to take the Citizen API, look at all these events that you have around you. Let me make some like on a. All right, yeah, there we go. So this is the Citizen app. You can see all of these. You can see all of these threats that have been around the city of Houston, and all these events, and all these alerts, and all these things of nature. They think things like 2 men fighting at a Shell gas station, hazmat situation at the office building, and you try to search any of these things up on the local news, you're not going to see it. It's not going to pop up. But if you want to search, but Citizen has an API, you can get all this data. If someone were to create an API and really to take this, summarize it, put it onto a news website, maybe draw some ads on it. You have AI summarize the news website. In 6 months, the news websites gets money because it's really super hyper local. You set this up for multiple cities, so you have your Houston API, you have your what's another New York API, you have your Denver API, etc. You have your APIs here. You aggregate this. You have super hyper local news. And then after that, then you can pay for reporters / investigators who can then go to those places and investigate what's going on. Go get exposed to your thing. Go make videos. Go get some YouTube news thing here, because I really find the local news to be really boring, but I really find the technology behind it to be really interesting. Like I said, for the Fox studio, like how do they do this? So here is a post I made on Reddit because. It was actually interesting. What editors do the people on TV news actually use? Because like TV news video editors, they actually look a lot better than the video editing that I personally can do, no matter what software I use. And I heard it's always Avid or Premiere. And I'm like, I've used Premiere before. I really don't know how you get that to work in Premiere. I used to have like a school license. Okay, I'm not a criminal. I'm not out here pirating software, people. I don't condone that kind of stuff. Anyway, but you know how they have like the nice blue backgrounds, or red backgrounds, or what color is MSNBC? I don't know, blue, red, and white. I don't know. Anyway, whatever backgrounds they are, and they have the quotes, and they have the nice little voiceovers, and they have the graphics always look better. Of course, they have the news tickers. They have the live guests reporting live from the scene. Which always they look a whole lot better than like someone getting recorded on a Zoom call or something like that. They always have their virtual studios. And then, of course, when they're showing social media screenshots, like I sometimes integrate into my videos, social media screenshots, they are a lot better looking than what mine look like. Of course, they apply gradients to images. It's like also cool to have like the type out of transcripts of phone calls and the waveforms and everything like that. You know what local news, TV news looks like. I mean, the editing is really, really good. It's top notch. So I'm wondering if it's like just better. Like if they just have like more experienced editors, if they have specific software that's used by the news agencies. All right. So what they say is that most graphics are created in After Effects and live broadcasts that they use is Chyron, Avid iNews, or Media Central. I'm actually going to check out Chyron. There you go. And Premiere Pro, Grass Valley's Edius. See, this was actually useful. This is actually the most useful response that I received here because no one because everyone's like Avid or Premiere Pro. That's the response that you're going to get if you look it up. Let's look up what this is the Grass Valley Edius. Let's see what they can do. So this is the software, Edius 11. Edit anything fast. Media at hand. Connect anything. Okay. It's a cloud, unfortunately. It's sad. Let's see if I want to see. Oh, here we go. News productions right here. This is great. I mean, look at this. Don't these graphics look great? Oh, can I see a screen? Yeah, there we go. Let's see a screenshot of this software. Let's see what it can do. All right, so we got a nice layout here. Look at that. Nice little fake virtual background there. We got our scenes. We got our shots. We got our live keyframes. Oh, nice. With live keyframes, we'll show the shot as appear on air with keys and effects. I wonder if this can go here. Transition controls. Let's go. Audio controls. look at this. Look at this. Yeah, no, isn't that nice? So high tech, so cool. Well, except for that, like this monitor looks like it was fighting in the Cold War alongside Reagan. Do live sports production too. Nice. All right, now let's see what Chyron does. Chyron. This is the Chyron Corporation. I'm going to show this on the screen. All right, let's see what kind of products they have. All right. All right, this is what they use for. I don't know. Let's pick Prime. All right, here we go. Let's see what they do here. So they have computer graphics, branding, touchscreens, video walls. Let's go. Click effects, virtual search, and switches. All right, let's see what the video has to say for themselves. Look at this. Let's see. Local news. Let's rewind back a bit here. Reset. Oh, dang it. Let's go back. There we go. All right, let's see what they have here. So, no. All right, here we go. So look at this. Look at this. They got there. See, local news always looks so much better. And this is the software that I guess that they are using. So we got your nice little, like, how do they do this? I always try to do something like that and say Video Ninja, motion Ninja, whatever. You have you have a gradient going in and out. You got your names here. You got your little stock, your ticker, which I actually have an article on how you can do that. You have your video wall, and you also have a nice back. I guess it's a fake video background set. I mean, that is some high tech stuff right here, just to make this thing here. And it's always like how like those news programs on even highly well produced news podcasts on YouTube do not look as good as this. I mean, look at this. You got your weather on here. You got your live, which I'm always interested in, like how they get the live cameras to beam back, of course, before internet. Your nice video wall here. And look at this. Like, if you try to point a camera at a screen, it's not going to go well for you because this you're going to take in the screen's brightness or your brightness. So, yeah. I mean, look at this. So cool. So cool. So cool. So, back over to the thread to see if we got any comments. No comments. Okay. And Avid graphics. So let's go back over to Avid, which I tried Avid. I couldn't even get a video to play. But this is Avid technology. Let's see if we can get the graphics. Ooh, Avid Maestro. All right, from 2022. Let me try to put on my news voice. Avid Maestro, new ways to design your solution. Oh yeah, this won't sound newsworthy. But what's the software look like? I mean, look at this. You got your touchscreen here, all your comments and your screens here. They never tell you what kind of software you use. They never tell you what kind of teleprompter software it is. I mean, there's all these interesting things that you can do that's hidden behind like some sort of paywall. Like the internet is being actively ruined, not by artificial intelligence, but by these paywalls in companies. That if you try to search up things of this nature, let me see if I can give you an example. Oh yeah, PBX system. So I'm trying to research the history of a PBX system. So watch live with me as I. So I'm just gonna see. I just typed in the history of the PBX system here. I want to know how PBX systems work. How did they get that whole music, right? And this is the history of the PBX system. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen. This is just me using Google. All right, look, this is my one Google criticism for today. So here we go. History of the PBX system. And the first article is from a blog from some random company that makes PBX systems. So it says the first PBX system was installed in 1979. And let me guess, I will bet $100, not actually, that they're going to try to advertise their cloud PBX system at the bottom of this article. Ready? 2024 and beyond. Quote, from 1876 to 2024, one thing is clear: telephony and communications is marked by brilliant minds and unbridled innovation. Blah, 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 blah. The Bicom Systems team is constantly researching and developing this on 20 years. If you're ready to continue your journey to the future of PBX communications, contact us today. This article is not that many words because it doesn't have to be. It's just an article that's set to advertise the PBX system, which is just VoIP and making calls via the internet, which is really, really sad. And let me guess, PBX where? Boom, cloud computing. It's always the cloud. It's always these people who have these articles that always somehow links back to the cloud. Well, you think the people in 1879 using the PBX were like, yeah, guys, we want them to go to the cloud. Here you go, be-business. Again, back from their history. And now I'm back doing the history, blah, 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 blah. And guys, guess what? If you want to know it, And now you know. Now you want to add your own PBX system. It's just like these whole blog slash informational articles things that are ruining the internet. And then the second thing that's ruining the internet is, oh, we got to check. Oh, hi. Hello, Kate. You want to know something today? We have about 15 minutes left on time. So hopefully, if you have any questions, did you get your new laptop? Anyway, another thing that's ruining the internet is that when or if TikTok gets banned, you're going to have all these people coming over to YouTube Shorts. And YouTube Shorts is a terrible, terrible, terrible platform. I mean, it's absolutely garbage now because it's full of all these people. Not doing little TikTok, Instatok dances. No. It's full of people doing, hey, guys, you want this sound? You like this sound? You like this sound? If you repost this, I'll comment this. You like this sound? It's nothing informational, nothing funny, nothing useful. It's absolutely abysmal. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely trash. They're going to be in here for about a few more minutes. So, Kate, if you have some questions, feel free to ask. Kate, let's see if Kate has anything to say. No. What? Oh, let's see what this guy, the Ravens guy. I'm not gonna read his name on air. Why are you reacting to a post about a disgusting oh, sorry. Yeah, it's just let's not read that on air. Yeah. I don't want the FCC coming after me. With that to say, God bless. Tech talk to you later, and we will find those 2.4 gigabytes.